Alright, so I am really tired today. I'm exhausted, but not just physically, emotionally as well. My husband's mom passed away a few weeks ago, and it's been really rough. It's the first person that's been really close to me that has passed away in a really long time, and just been hard. And of course, when I'm any kind of feeling anything extreme, my go-to is food. And so that kind of goes back to what I was saying before about how health isn't just about, being on a specific diet or drinking enough water in a day or making sure you eat your antioxidants and have all of your complete proteins and your amino acids and all those buzzwords, but it's about how we're doing emotionally and spiritually, mentally, physically, all that stuff. We're a whole person. And when tough stuff happens, when life happens and death happens and just junk happens, we need to process those events and those emotions and feelings in a way that's healthy for us. If the only coping mechanism we have is to go to food or alcohol, then we're never going to win. Because there's always going to be something. It's like my husband says, it's always something, we all feel stress. We all have difficult things happen in our lives. When we compare our lives to other people, we can try to make ourselves feel better by saying that we have it better off or worse off than somebody else. But when it comes down to it, our lives are a reality. And we all have our medium, or we think is kind of normal life. And anything that is tougher than that, anything that kind of jolts us off of that medium steady line, that is stress to us. And so we can't look at one person's suffering and think that our suffering is much worse, or that we're not suffering as much as they are, because it's all relative. It's all relative to our lives. And so there's no getting out of it, right? I mean, there's no situation you can put yourself in which you're never going to suffer anymore. You can possibly think that your suffering is a little bit less, but like I said, it's all relative to what your baseline is. So there's no avoiding it. There's no getting out of it. You're going to have stress in your life, and you're going to suffer. And you're going to have trials. You're going to have tough times. And so it's not about finding little tricks to get you through this one thing that has happened. At some point, we have to recognize and own up to the fact that we have to learn how to process tough situations in a healthy way. It's easier to say that than it is to do it. I am not that great at it, to be quite honest and vulnerable. Such a hard thing to do and a hard word to say. I thought I was doing pretty good until I finally got my butt back to church, because we've missed it, for a few weeks now because of everything going on. And, just moments into worship, and I'm not as strong as I was before I walked in the door. And my MO is just to kind of shrink back and kind of stuff it and be like, you know what, I don't want to deal with this emotionally right now. I was doing good. I was taking care of everybody. I was, we're doing school where I'm feeding the family healthy food, and I can't keep all my plates spinning all at the same time, but I know better. And I know that at some point I'm going to have to address how to process things in an emotionally healthy way. And for me, I firmly believe that my issues with food are directly related to how I process my emotions, whether they're negative or extreme, any kind of extreme emotion. I have now come to the point where it is equated with food. And that's kind of, I think that it's like that for a lot of people, right? It's like, oh, did you get a promotion? Sweet, go out and celebrate and eat. Did your boyfriend break up with you? Stinks. Go drown your sorrows in a pint of ice cream. And it just kind of keeps going. Did you have a rough day? Shoot, you know what? You deserve a Starbucks. So go indulge on your 500 calorie pumpkin spice latte or whatever it is. Every single emotion we have, eventually we kind of tie that into food. So we've got to come up with some alternatives, things we can do instead of turning to food, keeping your eye on what is helpful, what is the most beneficial, a way to splurge that isn't trashing your body. One thing I've been kind of turning to lately is makeup. It's kind of silly, but one thing I did recently is I made this little to-go bag. I'm a mom of 4, and my life is kind of crazy, and very often I will leave the house and forget to brush my teeth. Or for me, my eyelashes have almost all but disappeared. So for me, sounds vain, but you know what? It's not calories. For me to have mascara on is helpful. It just makes me feel a little bit better. Obviously, our self-worth shouldn't come from what we paint on our face, but it's a little ego boost, and it's something that I can do that doesn't trash my body. So I've got this little bag. It has, I bought a little packet of these these little travel toothbrushes, because I can't tell you how many times I'll leave the house and I'm like, oh, I got everybody else's toothbrush, and here I am like, so these are just something that I put in my bag. Little spray, extra deodorant, some nice smelling lotion. I have all the stuff that I never use, so I might as well just I decided to put it in this little bag. It's just kind of a fun thing, like a self-care kind of thing. So I'm going to keep this in the car. Hopefully it doesn't all melt. But, on those days where I'm just really frustrated, we've had a rough morning, I'm stopped at a stoplight or in a parking lot, all my kids are buckled and contained, I can throw on a little bit of mascara or some eyeshadow or some deodorant if I forgot it, brush my teeth real quick, and just do a little bit of self-care. But I'm not there yet. I haven't figured out what I can do to process my extreme emotions in a way that doesn't involve stuffing my face with something that's not good for me. Because it's a catch-22, because it's just a cycle that repeats itself. You're feeling down, so you stuff your body full of food that's not good for you. And what does it do? It makes your body feel worse. One of the things that I discovered over my different diets and things that I've done is that when my blood sugar is running low, as in not high, not low as in like I haven't eaten in 3 days, but lower as in, maybe I fast a whole day and then I'm eating no carbs for a day. When my blood sugar finally kicks in to be like, okay, we're hanging out in a nice, comfortable, low blood sugar that's not crazy, I have this weird energy spike. It's strange, but it's very encouraging, and I love the way that feels. But in order to get to that point, I have to have so much self-control over what I eat that it's hard to keep that in the forefront of my mind. So I think that keeping that in mind and focusing on that feeling I get when I am running at like a lower tank, I'm not stuffing myself, because when I overeat, it's like my blood sugar just hangs out in this high range. It never gets down. And I can force it down faster by doing some exercise, but ain't no mama got time for that right now. I'm constantly lifting my babies and moving around and never getting enough done, so I'm not going to add exercise as in like hopping on the treadmill. I'm not going to add that to my life right now because I'm not in that season, and that's okay. Anyway, just a bunch of rambling I wanted to share to the nobody out there, but just to kind of get it off my mind, off my chest. Today was hard. We did a butterfly release with the kids that was neat. That I popped up at the Children's Museum. Coincidentally, right around this time, we just, the girls just lost their grandma. So we went and we released a butterfly for them, and they were fine. They loved it. They thought it was really cool to see the butterfly and, release it out into the sky. And I was a mess. I was a basket case the whole time. I'm all, sobbing and wondering why nobody else is sobbing.